measured 2020, 27. EUV tools consume at least 10x more energy than immersion tools. Platform DUV immersion NXT 2050 IEUV NXE 3400C 30 mJ/centimeter 2. Energy consumption 0.13 MW 1.31 MW. Additionally, to confine ion debris, a superconducting magnet may be required.
Yes, now
EVAF immersion
sorry,
wavelength 2% FWHM bandwidth about 13 point.
I was sleepy, then I clicked my mouse, do that by mistake. So read from the top again.
EUVL tool, Lawrence Livermore National Laboratory. EUVL is a significant departure from the deep ultraviolet lithography standard. All matter absorbs EUV radiation. Hence, EUV lithography requires a vacuum. Elliptical elements, including the photomask, must use defect-free molybdenum/silicon, Mo/Si, multilayers, consisting of 40 Mo/Si bilayers, that act to reflect light by means of interlayer interference. Any one of these mirrors absorb around 30% of the incident light. Current EUVL systems contain at least 2 condenser multilayer mirrors, 6 projection multilayer mirrors and a multilayer object mask. Since the mirrors absorb 96% of the EUV light, the ideal EUV source needs to be much brighter than its predecessors. EUV source development has focused on plasmas generated by laser discharge pulses. The mirror responsible for collecting the light is directly exposed to the plasma and is vulnerable to damage from high-energy ions, 20, 21, and other debris, 22, such as tin droplets, which require the costly collector mirror to be replaced every year. 23. Resource requirements. Utility 200W output EUV 90W output RF. Immersion double patterning electrical power, kilowatt, 53249 cooling water flow, L/min, 160075 gas line 63. The required utility resources are significantly larger for EUV compared to 193 nm immersion, even with 2 exposures using the latter. Hynix reported at the 2009 EUV symposium that the wall plug efficiency was 0.02% for EUV, i.e., to get 200 watts at intermediate focus for 100 wafers per hour, one would require 1 megawatt of input power, compared to 165 kilowatts for an RF immersion scanner, and that even at the same throughput, the footprint of the EUV scanner was 3x the footprint of an RF immersion scanner, resulting in productivity loss. 24. Additionally, to confine ion debris, a superconducting magnet may be required. 25. A typical EUV tool weighs 180 tons. 26. DUV versus EUV tool energy consumption, measured 2020, 27. EUV tools consume at least 10x more energy than immersion tools. Platform DUV immersion NXT 2050 IEUV NXE 3400C 30 mJ/centimeter 2. Energy consumption 0.13 MW 1.31 MW. Throughput 296 WPH 136 WPH. Energy efficiency per wafer pass 0.45 kWh 9.64 wafers per year 2,584, 2001, 191, 360. Summary of key features. The following table summarizes key differences between EUV systems in development and RF immersion systems which are widely used in production today. EVAF immersion wavelength 2% FWHM bandwidth about 13.5 nm 193 nm photon energy 91 93 EV6.4 EV light source CO2 laser plus SN plasma FXIMA laser wavelength bandwidth 5.9%, 28, and LT 0.16%, 29. Secondary electrons produced by absorption is Nuptics reflective multilayers, tilde 40% absorbing per mirror. Transmissive lenses numerical aperture, Na, 0.25, NXE 31000.33, NXE 33x0 and NXE 3400B high Na, 0.55 in development 1.21.35 resolution spec 1 equals resolution / wavelength / numerical aperture, NXE 3100. 27 nm, K1 equals 0.50. NXE 3300B, 22 nm, K1 equals 0.54, 18 nm, K1 equals 0.44, with off-axis illumination ZU 3350B, 16 nm, K1 equals 0.39. NXE 3400B /C, NXE 3600D, 13 nm, K1 equals 0.32, 38 nm, K1 equals 0.27, flare 4%, 30, and LT 1%, 31. Illumination central angle 6 degrees off-axis on 2 reticle on-axis field size 0.25 and 0.33 Na, 26 mm 33 mm high Na, 26 mm 16.5 mm, 32. 26 mm 33 mm magnification 0.25 and 0.33 Na, 4x isomorphic high Na, 4x /8x anamorphic 4's ambient vacuum hydrogen air, exposed wafer area underwater, operation control, including thermal, none yes, for example, flex wave. 33. Illumination slit arc shaped. 34. Rectangular. 35. Reticle pattern on reflective multilayer pattern on transmissive substrate wafer pattern shift with reticle vertical position yes, due to reflection, tilde 1:40, 36, no pellicle available, but has issues wafers per day, depends on tool and dose, 150060000 tools in field and GT90, all 0.33 Na tool models, and GT400. The different degrees of resolution among the 0.33 Na tools are due to the different illumination options. Despite the potential of theoptics to reach sub-20 nm resolution, secondary electrons in resist practically limit the resolution to around 20 nm, more on this below. 37. Light source power, throughput, and uptime. EUV throughput as a function of dose. Throughput of an EUV tool is actually a function of exposure dose. For a fixed source power. Neutral atoms or condensed matter cannot emit EUV radiation. Ionization must precede EUV emission in matter. The thermal production of multicharged positive ions is only possible in a hot dense plasma, which itself strongly absorbs EUV. 38. As of 2016. The established EUV light source is a laser pulsed tin plasma. 39. The ions absorb the EUV light they emit, and are easily neutralized by electrons in the plasma to lower charge states which produce light mainly at other, unusable wavelengths, which results in a much reduced efficiency of light generation for lithography at higher plasma power density. The throughput is tied to the source power, divided by the dose. 40. A higher dose requires a slower stage motion, lower throughput. If pulse power cannot be increased. EUV collector reflectivity degrades tilde 0.1-0.3% per billion 50 kHz pulses, tilde 10% in tilde 2 weeks, leading to loss of uptime and throughput, while even for the first few billion pulses, within 1 day, there is still 20%. +/10%, fluctuation. 41. This could be due to the accumulating SN residue mentioned above, which is not completely cleaned off. 42. 43. On the other hand, conventional immersion lithography tools for double patterning provide consistent output for up to a year. 44. Recently, the NXE 3400B illuminator features a smaller pupil fill ratio, PFR, down to 20% without transmission loss. 45. PFR is maximized and greater than 0.2 around a metal pitch of 45 nm. 46. Due to the use of EUV mirrors which also absorb EUV light, only a small fraction of the source light is finally available at the wafer. There are 4 mirrors used for the illumination optics, and 6 mirrors for the projection optics. The EUV mask or reticle is itself an additional mirror. With 11 reflections, only 2% of the EUV source light is available at the wafer. 47. Tool uptime. The EUV light source limits tool uptime besides throughput. In a 2-week period, for example, over 7 hours downtime may be scheduled, while total actual downtime including unscheduled issues could easily exceed a day. 47. A dose error over 2% warrants tool downtime. 47. Comparison to other lithography light sources. While state-of-the-art 193 nm RF-excimer lasers offer intensities of 200 W/cm², 48, lasers for producing EUV generating plasmas need to be much more intense, on the order of 1011 W/cm². 49. A state-of-the-art RF immersion lithography 120 W light source requires no more than 40 kW, 50, while EUV sources are targeted to exceed 40 kW. 51. The power target for EUV lithography is at least 250 W, while for other conventional lithography sources, it is much less. 47. For example, immersion lithography light sources target 90 W, dry RF sources 45 W, and KRF sources 40 watts. Higher EUV sources are expected to require at least 500 W. 47. EUV specific optical issues. Reflective optics. EUV HV difference of focus. Horizontal and vertical features are focused differently in EUV optical systems. The numerical aperture, NA, also makes a difference. A fundamental aspect of EUVL tools, resulting from the use of reflective optics, is the off-axis illumination, at an angle of 6 degrees, in different direction at different positions within the illumination slit, 52, on a multilayer mask. This leads to shadowing effects resulting in asymmetry in the diffraction pattern that degrade pattern fidelity in various ways as described below. 53, 54. For example, one side, behind the shadow, would appear brighter than the other, within the shadow. 55. The behavior of light rays within the plane of reflection, affecting horizontal lines, is different from the behavior of light rays out of the plane of reflection, affecting vertical lines. 56. Most conspicuously, identically sized horizontal and vertical lines on the EUV mask are printed at different sizes on the wafer. 2 bar CD difference versus focus. The difference between the widths of two adjacent horizontal lines varies as a function of focus. The combination of the off-axis asymmetry and the mask shadowing effect leads to a fundamental inability of two identical features even in close proximity to be in focus simultaneously. 57. One of EUVL's key issues is asymmetry between the top and bottom line of a pair of horizontal lines, the so-called two-bar. Some ways to partly compensate are the use of fascist features as well as asymmetric illumination. 58. an extension of the 2-bar case to a grating consisting of many horizontal lines show similar sensitivity to defocus. 59. It is manifest in the critical dimension, CD. Difference between the top and bottom edge lines of the set of 11 horizontal lines. Polarization by reflection also leads to partial polarization of EUV light, which favors imaging of lines perpendicular to the plane of the reflections. 60. 61. Pattern shift from defocus, non-telecentricity. The EUV mask absorber, due to partial transmission, generates a phase difference between the 0th and first diffraction orders of a line space pattern, resulting in image shifts at a given illumination angle, as well as changes in peak intensity, leading to line width changes. 62. 63, which are further enhanced due to defocus. 64. 65. Ultimately, this results in different positions of best focus for different pitches and different illumination angles. Generally, the image shift is balanced out due to illumination source points being paired, each on opposite sides of the optical axis. However, the separate images are superposed and the resulting image contrast is degraded when the individual source image shifts are large enough. The phase difference ultimately also determines the best focus position. Due to different phase shifts from reflection from the UV mask, different illumination angles result in different shifts. This cannot be avoided with balanced dipole illumination. The multilayer is also responsible for image shifting due to phase shifts from diffracted light within the multilayer itself. 66. This is inevitable due to light passing twice through the mask pattern. 67. The use of reflection causes wafer exposure position to be extremely sensitive to vertical flatness and the reticle clamp. Reticle clamp cleanliness is therefore required to be maintained. Small, rad scale deviations in mask flatness in the local slope coupled with wafer defocus. 68. More significantly, mask defocus has been found to result in large overlay errors. 69. 70. In particular, for a 10 nm node metal 1 layer, including 48 nm, 64 nm, 70 nm pitches, isolated, and power lines. Thune correctable pattern placement error was 1 nm for 40 nm mask Z position shift. 71. This is a global pattern shift of the layer with respect to previously defined layers. However, features at different locations will also shift differently due to different local deviations from mask flatness, for example, from defects buried under the multilayer. It can be estimated that the contribution of mask non-flatness to overlay error is roughly 1/40 times the peak to valley thickness variation. 72, with the blank peak to valley spec of 50 nm, tilde 1.25 nm image placement error is possible. Blank thickness variations up to 80 nm also contribute, which lead to up to 2 nm image shift. 72. The off-axis illumination of the reticle is also the cause of non-telecentricity in wafer defocus, which consumes most of the 1.4 nm overlay budget of the NXE 3400 EUV scanner. 73. Even for design rules as loose as 100 nm pitch. 74. The worst uncorrectable pattern placement error for a 24 nm line was about 1.1 nm, relative to an adjacent 72 nm power line, per 80 nm wafer focus position shift at a single slit position. When a cross-slit performance is included, the worst error is over 1.5 nm in the wafer defocus window. 71. In 2017, an actinic microscope mimicking a 0.33 Na EUV lithography system with 0.2/0.9 quasar 45 illumination showed that an 80 nm pitch contact array shifted -0.6 to 1.0 nm while a 56 nm pitch contact array shifted -1 1.7 to 1.0 nm relative to a horizontal reference line, within a and /50 nm defocus window. 75. Wafer defocus also leads to image placement errors due to deviations from local mask flatness. If the local slope is indicated by an angle, the image is projected to be shifted in a 4x projection tool by